Welcome to the Scorpio full moon Feng Shui, the flower moon, the moon where everything is in full bloom. Today, we're going to talk about all the power of this incredible full moon, what you could start doing right now to really step into your zone of genius and live in the zone of genius. And this is such a big topic for me because that's the point of the Feng Shui that we do. It's very unique. And most Feng Shui, you'll hear about cures and solutions and what's wrong and how you fix it. And that's not what we do here. What we do here is focus in on how you can live in your genius zone, focusing on what is right and expanding it rather than looking at life as a series of problems to fix. And this is huge, but we're also going to talk about even more of the potentials of this Scorpio full moon and everything that it can bring for you to step into a 2.0 you. So this is going to be really exciting. I need some water because the weather has been crazy here and I'm ready for the sunshine. So if you're invited to transform, what does that look like for you? What is it that you want to rebirth? What is it that you want to birth? What is it you want to become? Think of this as the time of actual becoming. So maybe you want to become really good at something. Maybe you want to become more of a leader. Maybe you want to become someone who's great at having relationships. Maybe you want to become stronger or physically, or you want to become happier, or you want to become something in one area of life. You really want to see this massive transformation. And this massive transformation happens from the inside out and the outside in. So what is it that you want if you could wake up tomorrow and something in your life would be transformed forever and ever? What would that be right now? Of course, there might be a few things that you want to transform, but what would the big thing be that's really been on your mind, maybe really been in your way? And now you say, no, I am ready. I am ready to metamorphosize. I am ready to completely change. I am ready for this. And you can't change every aspect of your home and your life and everything overnight, but you can focus in on one aspect and make it your time to bloom. So what now needs to change in your life in order for this metamorphosis to occur? If you want to have this big change, what is it that needs to change? So it might be easier for you to identify what it is that you want to change, but more difficult to identify what might need to change in order for this metamorphosis to happen. And that's what we're going to talk about today, what you can do to lean into this space of metamorphosis and allow this change to happen. Scorpio is the sign of deep, profound water. Often people think it's a fire sign because it's so passionate. Scorpios are usually so passionate. It's usually associated with this very almost primal motivation where you just feel magnetically drawn in, where you feel momentum and motivation that's just unstoppable. Like you just can't explain it. You can't put the genie back in the bottle. It's just, that's it. I'm in. I'm all in. It's a very fully invested energy. And Scorpio is, being a water sign, very much about your emotions and your internal workings, what really drives you, what really is moving you forward. So this isn't something that you can kind of think. This is not a time of thinking. In fact, I think we've all done enough thinking. Have you done enough thinking for this year? I think we've all done plenty of thinking, and the time for true action is now. It's feeling and acting on those feelings. It's being drawn forward. This is the energy of this flower moon. So this is a time where everything's in bloom. Everything's in full bloom. And when you think of a flower and it's full bloom, that is just the pinnacle. It is the highlight. It is the grand transformation from a little seed into this beautiful flower. And so this is a peak time for transformation, a peak time to really step into your genius zone and commit to staying there. So I don't know how many of you have read books from Gay Hendricks, but I always really gravitated toward his books because they're very much aligned with the Feng Shui method that we do, which is very unique. And in his books, he talks about the genius zone. There are great books like The Big Leap, and I believe it's called, is it called The Genius Zone? The Genius Zone, yes. The Big Leap, The Genius Zone, and many others where he talks about really living in unlimited ways. And infinite possibility is a big part of the work that we do here. So to step into your genius zone, how can you accomplish that? What does that mean? And that doesn't necessarily mean that you're going to be making art all day long. Many of you don't make art, all day long, but it definitely means that you are in a space where you're using your talents, your gifts, your skills, your abilities, your voice, your viewpoint, your unique way of seeing things. Your creative electricity is active for more of the time, for most of the time. Now, this doesn't happen overnight. If you're used to living in your head and overthinking, probably you're not going to wake up tomorrow and be like, that's it, a full genius all day long. I'm not going to think at all. I'm just going to be completely creative about everything and everything I do and every choice I make. If you can accomplish that, I applaud you. But you can start right now, even before this full moon, to lean into this more, to challenge yourself. In fact, in the book, The Genius Zone, Gay Hendricks talks about challenging himself to spend half the day in the zone of genius and then to push that more and more and more until finally he was living almost all of his life in this genius zone. And that's where life becomes truly unlimited. So this is a practical thing to do. It's not some, stroke of magic or some, word salad. There's actual things that you can do in order to get and stay in this genius zone. The big thing is, and I say this all the time when you're working on your home, you don't just decide one day, okay, I'm going to transform my home, and then poof, it transforms. You have to commit to that transformation every single day. So you're going to decide, I want to transform this. I want to metamorphosize. I want to finally become this butterfly. I want to reach a peak pinnacle of whatever it is. And whatever is for you, whatever your goal is, whatever is in your mind is your intention. Now you're going to live more of your life in this genius zone. When you awaken this energy, and this happens whether you're doing it in your home, and we'll talk about that, or you're doing it in your life. And when you're doing it together, it's even more powerful. When you awaken this energy, you become wildly, unbelievably unstoppable. It's insane what happens because you start to see there's always something I can do about it. So I mentioned this a little bit earlier, but here's the scenario. When you're going through life, many of you have been told you have a problem. I don't have enough of this. I don't have enough, we'll say money. That's a good one. Everyone loves money. I don't have enough money. Maybe for you, it's love. Maybe it's creativity. Maybe it's a project that you're working on. Something's wrong. I don't have enough. So you can either focus on that. I don't have enough. And you can focus on, I got to fix it because I don't have enough. And so you start looking at what you're doing and trying to tinker with it and put a Band-Aid on it in some way, or rethink exactly what you're doing and get into that. And with this sense that there's a problem and you've got to fix it. Okay. So that's one way of looking at life. There's a problem. I've got to fix it. In people's homes, people say, oh, the feng shui is bad. You've got to do a cure. We don't do that. And so you're focused on all these things that are wrong and you're fixing them. And what happens is you find more things that are wrong and you're fixing those. Then you find more things that are wrong and you're fixing those. And you find more things that are wrong and you're fixing those. And it feels like this endless fixing. Do any of you feel like you're in a space of endless fixing? Raise your hand, comment below. I'd love to hear from you because I lived a lot of my life in this way. And it was this constant feeling that something always had to be fixed. And when you're in this mode of fixing, you're very limited. Now, the opposite way to approach this and the genius way to approach this is to say, okay, I don't have enough money. How can I create more money? I'm going to focus on creating more money. How do I create more money? And let that be the guiding thought you have all day, not something's wrong, something's broken, I have a bad belief, I have a bad this, I have a bad that. How can I create more money? How does that feel in your body when you say that? Isn't it kind of cool when you go, oh, well, I could do this. Maybe I could look at my budget. I could look at this. I could look at that. Maybe I could start the business I was thinking about. I saw a thing, there's this opportunity. I could explore this. I could invest. I could come up with a million things to do. I could come up with a million things I can experiment with right now. But when I'm thinking about how I have to fix something, I get very in my head. But when I think about how I can create something that I actually want, I feel very expanded. Do you feel the same? Because this is the zone of genius. This is where you get into the zone of genius rather than running around thinking about things and trying to force things to happen in your brain, like trying to worry enough about it or stress enough about it that hopefully something happens, which it never does, or trying to, troubleshoot and get so into your head about things. What about how can I create more of what I want? How can I create? Because fixing is very, very tedious, but creating is the truth of infinite possibility. And so you can apply this to all aspects of your life. How can I create this rather than I've got a problem, I got to focus on the problem, this is not working, this is not working. No, great. How do I make what I want? How do I create what I want? And so a good way to think about this to begin is what's not in your zone of genius. And this is something that can really open your eyes to your habits, because we're going to talk about release, because that's what this full moon is about. This deep, committed release of everything in the way. And what's in your way is anything that keeps you from your zone of genius. So let's think about what those things are. Think about what things keep you in a mode of overthinking. Worry, distractions, too much internet, maybe too much, even just people's opinions kind of flowing in all the time, chaos, disorder. What else is outside of your zone of genius? Maybe there are some hyperfixation on things that are wrong, dwelling on the past, all of these things that you can't fix or control or do anything about. You can't really change them. They just go on and on and on, and they don't really solve things. So all those things are outside of your zone of genius. And maybe there are some other things you can think of that you do that are not really working for you and are outside of your zone of genius. Maybe there are certain things you're told you should do. You're told that you must do. You're told that you have to do in order to be successful or be a good person or be something else, and you don't like them. Maybe those things can go as well. So what's not in your zone of genius? And now what is? All that you can create. So you might want to write down for yourself, this is how I plan to transform right now. This is this new state of transformation, this 2.0 me in some way that I'm ready to emerge. I'm ready to give birth to it. I'm ready to do it. And then say, how can I create more of this that I want? How can I create more opportunities? How can I create more clients for my business? How can I create more? Rather than, how do I fix this problem that I have? Different energy. You're going to create an expanded, nonstop, limitless life this way. And it's a habit. You really have to cultivate it, but it really works. So now I want to talk about activating the spirit of your home so that it can help you to transform your life. Because that's what we do here. This whole method of Feng Shui is not just about, what creates flow according to some principle. This is about turning your home into what it already is, your greatest influence, but into your greatest positive influence, into your most specific influence. Your home can be the lightning rod, the catapult, the catalyst to your greatest dreams coming true. And it starts by turning the spirit of your home way on. Think about your home as the living organism that it is. Your home is alive with energy. Your home is a part of your energy field. Your home is not extra. It is essential. It's a piece of you. People try to change their lives, don't change their homes, and they're fighting against an old paradigm. So we want to activate the spirit of your home so it can help you to transform your life. And how do you do that? Well, in this amazing time of Scorpio, start using water as a beginning. So you can think about washing everything. Wash your floors, mop really well, scrub the baseboards, wash things you haven't washed in a really long time. Get behind the furniture, pull everything out. I know it's a pain to do sometimes, but man, will you wake up energy that has been dormant. You're going to feel the expansion of energy as you do this. Get into the corners, get into the high places, just clean everything. We're going to wash everything. Wash things you haven't washed in a really long time, like the bath mat. Maybe you even get a new one, like the curtains. Maybe they have to be dry cleaned, like your bedding that rarely gets washed. All of it, wash it, clean it, get the water flowing. You want everything fresh and sparkling and new. Think about ways that you can cleanse and now activate the power of water a little bit more. Use more water, drink more water. Did you know that when you drink water, it helps to really, in many ways, it helps with your intuition. If I am dehydrated, I am not firing the right way. We're electrical beings and we need like a good flow of energy, and water is very, very important. So drink enough water, have this flow in your life, and you really want to activate the spirit of your space with flowers if you can, because it's the flower moon. What would the flower moon be without flowers? So get some flowers if you can. Go and get some, pick some, gather some, make some bouquets, put them around your house, and imagine as you're doing this, that peak energy, the peak energy of bloom that you're infusing into your entire space. Now, what's the point of doing all of this? When you're in a space that's higher, lighter, and brighter, you are going to feel higher, lighter, and brighter because it is an extension of you. When you start doing this, you will see things move. Now, you want to allow the new you to emerge. You want to release everything in the way. If you missed the video I made about how everything must go that was in my way and how it can prompt you to get rid of everything that's in your way, I am still in the midst of this massive dumping, massive declutter. And I have to tell you, it keeps getting better and better and better. Release and declutter everything that's in your way. Keep letting things go because the new you needs to emerge in a new space. And the new you isn't because you aren't good enough. It's not because you are broken in some way. It's because you are here to keep transforming. You're here to keep growing. And we all have to go through these metamorphoses in different parts of our life all the time. And that is a good thing. And in order to keep emerging as new and fresh, you need to clear away what is in the way. Now, as you're doing this, something to keep in mind is this energy of flow. Here, mental force, that's not going to bring you brilliance and breakthroughs. Mental force is going to bring you more mental force. It rarely have you over, I'll ask you, have you ever overthought your way into some major breakthrough? Have you ever stressed out enough that it's brought you something great? Have you ever worried so much that the worry actually produced a miracle? Probably not. Maybe occasionally like something that you can correlate, but probably not. All of this here is limited. Your mind is limited to what it knows, it has seen, it can imagine, it can process. Your creative energy is unlimited. Overthinking will not make you emerge new. Creative energy will. And that means living with a lot more faith in yourself, maybe even faith in uh, a spiritual practice, in a religion, deeper faith. Maybe it's time to explore different healing modalities, different energy processes, things that you've been kind of looking at and examining and thinking about. Maybe it's time to try them. Maybe it's time to start meditating or getting back to your church or your temple, your mosque, whatever it is, and committing to a practice and seeing how that makes you feel, where you are really lit up and flowing with more faith. And you don't have to have a specific religious or spiritual practice. It can be an energy practice. It could be practicing having faith in yourself, practicing trusting your instincts. All of this is part of allowing this new you to emerge, releasing everything in the way, decluttering like never before. And when you do this, amazing things will happen. And if you want to take it to the next level, the School of Intention, the Professional Feng Shui Certification Program is now open for registration, and only this season, this year exclusively, I have included the Professional Decluttering Certification, which is new, which is going to be its own program next year. And it is a part of it. So if you've been thinking about joining, wanting to join, now is the time, because you will have 2 certifications at the end, not just one. And you'll learn to do all this work for yourself and then do it with others. Congratulations. Amazing. Birthday full moon is the best. Oh, happy birthday. I meant to say thinking. It's tough. Thinking is tough. Yes, this is definitely recorded, and I'm so glad that it's resonating with you and helps you, because this is the stuff that, like I said, I struggled with for a really long time. The overthinking, the trying to fix things, all of the things that kept life limited and small. And this full moon, this flower moon, is like, no more. No more. You get to choose. But just like anything, and this is something that, I've emphasized forever in all of my trainings, that Gay Hendricks talks about extensively in his books, that, almost every spiritual practice talks about in some way. It's very easy sometimes to get started, but to continue, you need to keep making that commitment. And so if you want to take this to the next level, you might even want to think about having something you do in the morning where you recommit. Like, you wake up, you set your intentions for the day and recommit to your transformation, recommit to creating whatever it is that you want, so that you don't kind of get lost in the shuffle of regular life taking over. And this is a big shift. When you move out of being very problem focused and trying to solve and fix everything into this bigger creative arena, it's wild what happens. And you'll learn to trust yourself more and more as you do this. So I can't wait to hear what happens. We're going to talk about this topic much more. Obviously, if you come into the Feng Shui school, this is what you'll do. You will create your home as this full scale immersion in your genius zone. That's what you do for other people. That's why this work is so powerful and not like anything else in the world, because you're literally creating a space that keeps you in your genius zone for all the time you spend in your home. And you can do the same in your office and the same everywhere else. And it becomes so much easier to live the dreams you want right now, rather than waiting until some future, whatever event happens that magically brings them in. You get to decide. So choose your genius. And I can't wait to hear how this lands with you. I'm so glad it's resonating with people who are on live. And if you haven't subscribed to the channel yet, please consider subscribing, because I rarely I don't like to beg people to subscribe, but a lot of people watch and don't subscribe. And now YouTube is being really tough on all of these things. So if you like the video, please subscribe. And there's lots more to come. And I will talk to you very, very soon. Bye, everyone.